Hi everyone, my name is Jimmy Smith and welcome to episode number 80 of the Rambler podcast, where we are passionate about sharing what makes Cathedral Prep the standard of excellence. On this episode of the podcast, we are thrilled to have Cathedral Prep seniors, and by the time this podcast episode comes out, brand new alumni, Adrienne Catrabone and Devin Easter on as guests. Today we are going to talk to Adrienne and Devin about what their experience has been like for them as their time at Prep. And a little background on each of them. Adrienne graduated from grade school at Our Lady of Peace, and while at Prep, she participated in JV women's volleyball, stage crew, NHS, NAHS. She was a class officer, a member of student council, in book club, baking club, and ski club. Basically anything with club on it, she was a part of, it sounds like. Her future plans are to attend the University of Pittsburgh Honors College, where she will be studying psychology. Devin went to grade school at Harding Elementary and middle school at Strong Vincent. While at Prep, Devin played football, basketball, track, and was a member of the Diversity Club. His future plans are to attend Mercyhurst University, where he will run track and study business marketing. So fun to have you guys on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's fun. You were busy, Adrienne.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's cool because Prep does offer so many great clubs and experiences and opportunities for you guys as students to take advantage of. So it's great to see between athletics and the clubs that you guys took full advantage of that.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
And we're recording this last week of May. This episode will come out mid-June, so you guys already have your graduation. But you guys are kind of at the final stretch here. I mean, the end. I mean, we've done Sports Day. You guys had Mary's Day, Baccalaureate, some of the bigger ones. I guess, how's it feel to be just about done here?
Yeah, well, it feels great. It definitely was great with Sports Day. We got to win like the two big awards at the end there, so that was really fun going out with a bang like that. But
it definitely does not feel real, to be honest. I can't believe that we're already done, but it's been a heck of a journey. So
yeah. And I saw you were here a little bit earlier, Devin. Were you guys practicing for graduation?
Yeah. Me, Mr. Herbstrick, and then Miss C, we were like going over what I'm basically gonna say. So,
yeah. Do you have your speech finalized yet? Do you have all that stuff?
I have everything done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to you guys. It's really cool that see you guys come at the end of the road here. You know, you guys both started as freshmen on different campuses and then came back your sophomore year to this new school. So you guys have had 3 years of being here together at this new Prep, and pretty neat. So we'll kind of talk about some of that stuff. You know, I had some questions I sent over to you guys to take a review over. But, you know, I'd kind of like to reflect back with you guys to maybe when you were in 8th grade first. Probably feels like so long ago, but, you know, just a few years ago that you guys were looking at coming to Prep or coming to Villa, you know, at the time as students. And wanted to ask you guys, when you were 8th graders and you heard the news about Prep consolidating to one school, those would be boys and girls, I mean, as 13, 14-year-old kids, maybe what was your guys' take on that? Let's start with you, Adrienne.
I definitely was not expecting for there to be a merger. I had spent my whole grade school kind of preparing to go to an all-girls school, but I definitely wasn't upset about it. I had always had so many guy friends, like in middle school, just growing up with brothers. I got along with guys really well. So I was really excited that I would be able to experience Villa on its own and still be a part of that tradition and that sisterhood, but also be able to continue and maintain my friendships with my guy friends going into Prep. So I definitely wasn't upset about it. Very excited to be a part of this new experience.
Yeah, that's great to hear, especially the friend perspective, right? I mean, it's definitely some of the most important things when you're in your teenage years is your friend circles, where they're going to school. So it's probably nice to know that a lot of the guy friends you had were going to be going there. And your dad graduated from Prep too, so.
I was so excited that I would be able to meet some of the teachers that my older brother had talked about and my dad had talked about when they went to school. So I definitely was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Mr. Achille, I had my sophomore year. He was a great experience. So it was really exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. How about you, Devin?
To me, I was pretty surprised myself. Like what Adrienne said, I was kind of happy that like I could still have some like my girls from elementary, middle school, like going to Prep as well. So I mean, I was used to being in elementary and middle school with boys and girls, so like I was pretty happy. And then I was also like more happy because I could still experience 1 year with all boys and all girls in school. So yeah.
And your dad also went to prep.
Yes.
Yeah, so he probably would tell you all about it, and then growing up now it's going to be different than what he told you with it being an all-boys school.
Yeah, I know. And then like what Adrienne said, like my dad had some of the teachers that I had here, so it was like cool to like have like the same teaching like experience that like my dad had.
Yeah, it is a pretty neat experience. That's one of the things I love about prep is just the tradition of it, and then it can go from teachers that you guys had, your dad had, your siblings, whatnot. But even though you're walking the halls, the same halls that, your dad's walked and other great alumni from the school have been a part of, it's that part of the tradition of it I always enjoyed. So the other part of that question I had for you guys was, did it impact your decision at all with coming to the schools? And it sounded like no, you guys were always going to be coming to prep, and that's where you're going to go. So, or I guess Villa was where you're always going to go, and then now prep,
Yeah. My mom kind of asked me, is this something you still want to do? Do you still want to go to prep? And of course, all my friends are going there, and I had heard so many great things, and it has such good prestige. It was never a no for me. I was always going to go to prep.
That's cool. And so you guys find out about that. It was a surprise. It didn't really change like to what you guys were just saying. Your idea of going there. I guess like during that 8th grade year, and then now you're transitioning to your freshman at the prep campus, at the Villa campus. Was there like an excitement growing about coming together as one school?
Definitely. I think that people were anticipating what it was going to be like.
Or maybe a little nervousness more so than,
Definitely. I think there were some alumni that kind of, from Villa, they were like, don't let the guys, like, put you down or anything like that. Like, make sure you put
Devin.
them in their place. And, I think that there was people were a little worried, but I never... the girls, we were all excited to, be on the new campus and be in the new facility. So it was, very exciting. A little bit nerve-wracking, but definitely exciting.
Yeah, it was definitely a big change for, both of the campuses. I remember, like, talking to, like, some alumni myself, and they're like, oh, like, this is going to be crazy or, like, a bad idea. But then it turns out it was, like, so much better than I thought.
It kind of seemed like what the sense was that I got, me working in our advancement department, I'm not teaching students, and I'm not in the everydayness of it. But as I talked with teachers and I got to meet, some of the students and ask them, it seemed like the transition was super smooth. Like the school administration did a really good job of getting input from the students about what you guys were looking for in a new school, and just taking all those factors into consideration that, this was a big change for everybody, not just the girls from Villa coming to prep, but also the guys at prep that we're going to now have girls here. And the whole building was shifted, as you remember, from classroom numbers and all that too. So, it was very different. And, when you guys look at the year experience that you had at Villa or you had at prep with all boys, I guess, is there anything you guys just kind of take away from that? Because you're part of the last class that will have that experience.
Yeah. If I had to pick like one thing that really stuck with me from Villa was definitely the environment there. Not that it was bad. It was nice. It was just different. In the way that everyone was very comfortable. Just because it was all girls, you would literally have girls roll out of bed, throw their hair up in a messy bun, throw their uniform on, and walk into school. And it was just an environment where you knew no one was going to judge you. And, if you needed if you needed a good cry or a good rant, like you knew someone was going to be there for you. You wouldn't get judged for it. And it was just special, different. It was great.
Yeah, that's fun.
For me, the one takeaway that I'll have from like being in all boys, definitely the brotherhood. It was definitely, high school boys. It was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we all felt pretty comfortable with each other. I remember coming into my freshman year, and then like I was like pretty nervous about like being with like all these like guys who like I never seen before. But then like turns out like after like the first quarter of freshman year, I felt like a younger brother to all the people that were older than me. So that's one thing I'll definitely take away.
Yeah, that's cool. Last night I was very fortunate to be able to speak at Baccalaureate, and I was talking about the one guy that was a senior when I was a freshman, and just kind of bumping into him in, Pittsburgh, out of all places, just somewhere random coffee shop. But, I said it during the speech, but it's so true. He was like big football player. I was just this little freshman when I was here.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, like, you know, you have that interaction. I remembered him from those days, but then years later, you know, to still have that connection to where I can talk to him, and we were like best friends, and we barely knew each other when we were at prep. And I think that goes the same whether it's, you know, that part of the brotherhood, or the same as when I run into Villa alums that graduated the same year that I did from prep. It's just that family element that's so special about the school, and it's cool that you guys had those experiences at prep and Villa, and then got to have those, I'm sure, similar experiences here over the last few years as well. Now, you know, kind of, you know, keeping in line with the story, so there was a lot of maybe nervousness about coming to prep as all girls, you know, coming here, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of anxiousness. Do you remember what that first week was like then, Adrienne, as you were a sophomore coming to school here for the first time?
I remember feeling like prep was giant, and it was kind of like a maze. I think it took me like a week and a half to fully figure out. I remember going up the science wing to the second floor and thinking I could get over to the rest of the school to the second floor, and then I was late to that class. I got lost. So, but I definitely was so excited. It was great to see everyone that I went to middle school with, and you could feel just how excited everyone was to be there. I was so excited about the new facilities, and you know, the SLC is just so great. Nice big lunchroom. It felt very welcoming. Really great environment to come into.
Good. And Devin, for you, you know, you're coming back to prep, but now it's totally different. You were here as a student during construction, so you were a part of what the school looked like then. But now you get to come and see the finished product and see what it was like. What was your experience like as you came back to prep that year?
So the first week, I guess you could say, like what Adrienne said, I was pretty lost. And compared to the classes, my freshman year, like due to all the construction, like the building was definitely much smaller with like all the construction going on. And then I just remember like the first week, I was like super excited, like just to meet like so many new people, like how I met Adrienne. And then like, I was definitely excited, but also it took me some time to get around the building. So.
It's already a confusing building to navigate when you're not used to it. And then for you to come in as like, here you are a sophomore in high school, you should know the lay of the land already by now, and not so much.
Villa was a lot more, it was smaller, and it was a lot more like standard with how it was built. You just had the two staircases on the side. You know, here there's some staircases that go to certain floors, and it was a little confusing, but it's such a great place. I love it here. So
good. Glad to hear that. And obviously there was such a big investment, you know, in terms of the building of the school, obviously by our lead donor, Mr. John Salata, you know, with his big gift to help make this possible. And it's so cool. So from my perspective, I get a lot of alumni who will call our office, ask for tours of prep, because they either graduated in the 80s, the 90s, whenever it was, and they want to see the building. And there's so many elements of the old space that's familiar to them. And then there's been spaces that are like, I don't even know where I am right now. It looks so different. And it makes it fun to be able to show off, you know, what it is that they like to see and what you guys have been able to experience. And can you both share maybe a little bit more of your thoughts when it comes to the campus? You know, what you guys enjoy about the school? I know you've mentioned the SLC, but, you know, the guidance suite is also brand new. And just different, like the Project Commons on the third floor is new. Are there other elements that you guys have really spent a lot more of your time in as students and experienced?
Definitely for me, I was most excited about the new art rooms. Coming from Villa, they had a really nice, cute art room in the basement, but, you know, it felt a little cramped and stuffy at times, so I was so excited to come and not have just one, but two brand new art rooms that were super spacious, and they had so many different brand new things. Like we had, I think there were 3 to 4 pottery wheels up in the new art room, which we did not have at Villa. So I've spent so much time in those rooms, and I love them so much. They're awesome.
That's really cool. So for any prep alumni who are listening, so Jim Sable's old classroom, the art room on the third floor, was connected to a faculty room. So that was taken out, and then we were able to put in a new room. So now there's 2 art rooms. We call it the art suite, right up kind of where Jim Shar's classroom was. I'm kind of referencing, you know, where a lot of the prep alums will know where that is. But yeah, right up there on the third floor. Now it's a whole art suite, and it's beautiful. They redid all the cabinetry, the rooms, the floors, everything looks so nice up there. Yeah. How about you, Devin?
So I was mostly excited for the SLC because like that's where like a lot of people mostly like spend their time here, like between classes and like the study halls and all that extra stuff. But I was also excited to like see the old stuff that like all the alumni had, and then like combine with the new stuff as well.
Yeah.
And I think like that was like one thing I appreciated the most with this school, because like I got to see like the past things that were going on, but also like the future. So yeah.
It's always fun. You know, one thing I mentioned with that is the gymnasium. It looks exactly like when your dads were here, and you know, generations before that. But it was one of those spaces that was kind of left in limbo during construction, and it was never touched. And it looks nice, and it's just classic, vintage, old prep gymnasium. Which is always fun to walk the alums through, and they're like, "Oh, I know this space. Smells just like it did out when I was here." But yeah, that's really cool. So, you know, and having mentioned that with your dads again, you know, you guys are part of a legacy, you know, with prep. You know, both your dads having graduated from here. We were talking about that earlier, about tradition and how significant that is. But one question for you guys, from your perspective, what does that idea of tradition at prep, what does that mean to you?
For me, it's definitely an honor. I always thought that I was going to be the first one in my family to go to Villa. So being able to join the, you know, tradition and the legacy that my dad went to prep and then my older brother went, and I got to be a part of that, but not only be a part of it, but be the first girl in my family to become part of this tradition and go to prep. It's definitely very special, and I'm honored, and I hope that someday I can send my kids to prep and continue that tradition on. So I'm very honored.
That's awesome.
For me, I'd say it's definitely an honor as well. With my dad coming here, he was a pretty big sports guy here. So,
a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I know. So I had like some pretty big like expectations like with sports and stuff, and then like even with like teachers like Mr. Achille and like Mr. Deschner and stuff, they were like, "Oh, you look just like your dad." And then like I was like, "Okay, like I have like some high expectations here, because if they know my dad, then yeah." But I'd say it's definitely been an honor to like be a part of this, and like what Adrienne said, like I plan on sending my kids here as well. So
yeah, that's awesome to hear. It's great that at your guys' age, like you understand and recognize what it means, like that honor, and you know, just a part of that tradition, and already thinking you want to send your kids here. I mean, I was the same way when I was your guys' shoes, like just understanding the significance of it. You know, did your dad pin you last night for baccalaureate? Then your brother pinned you, and so like even that ceremony for baccalaureate is so special, and so it's one of my favorite traditions that we have. But it's such a significant moment to, you know, pick who's going to pin you, and that representation of being welcome now to the alumni community. It's really cool. You guys have probably heard a lot about the alumni network and things like that at this point. But yeah, you guys are going to be a part of that in just about less than a week here, which is pretty cool.
It's very exciting. Doesn't feel real at
I
times.
That's great. And you know, your days as a student, you know, are really over. You guys are done with finals. You don't have any more classes. Is your last like scheduled thing just graduation practice on Friday? Is that, and then you have graduation Sunday? Wow, that's amazing. Well, congrats to you guys. And I guess, what do you think? It's still all really fresh, and I know you just can't wait to be done. You can't wait to graduate. But when you think, like, looking back on these 4 years that you've had at prep, what do you think you guys will miss the most from being here as students?
Definitely the people here. It's definitely the people here that make it such a great place. Not only the students, but the teachers as well. And of course, you know, the counselors, and guidance counselors, they just put so much effort into this place and make it so special. Everyone is so welcoming, and you know, teachers are harsh at times, but you know, so is life, and they really set you up and prepare you for the future, and just make great connections here. And as my dad said, that's what he remembers the most about his time at prep. It's really just a special environment here for people to connect and to learn, and it's definitely the people. That's what I'm gonna miss the most.
That's cool.
I agree with Adrienne. Definitely the people. I feel like if I went to any other school, I wouldn't be like myself. Like I wouldn't be the best possible version of myself right now. And I think prep has like helped me and like other people like be better people. And I feel like the one thing I'll miss the most is definitely the people. And all the brothers and sisters I made, like, I'm grateful for all that.
And that's something, I kind of said again last night, just, to your class, is stay connected with each other.
Yeah.
It's amazing. One of the guys who was there, Gary Natupsky, I kind of mentioned during the speech, he's part of the class of 1978, and he still is in a big group text with his classmates. And it's like all these years later, and they still have that bond where, if somebody needs help with this, they send a message in the group, and their classmates are there for each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely the people, and that's something what's great about it is those people will be with you, the rest of your lives, if you guys choose to, and your classmates choose to, as well as, the teachers who have been here to help support you, and you mentioned the guidance counselors, so many great people and coaches that you guys have had that have been a part of that. That's cool. What's also neat is, having you guys on as guests for the podcast. You guys were our speakers at Legacy Gala this past February. So that was a really cool opportunity for you guys to be able to share with the community about your experience at Prep and asking people to help support, for our Legacy Gala event at that event.
Yeah.
But it was really neat. Legacy Gala is an event we do every year. Biggest fundraiser event. We also induct people into our President's Hall of Fame, and you guys were the ones to be able to introduce the alumni that were being inducted that night, which was really cool. But can you talk us through, it's a little unique question for you guys, that you guys were the ones to be able to speak, but can you talk us about that experience, coming to learn about what Legacy Gala was, seeing the number of people there, maybe telling us if you think it was more than you thought or about what you expected, and then also, just talking about like what you got to see, now is the first time as you're getting ready to transition out of Prep, you get to see a community of people who are there to support students at Prep. So maybe you could talk about that a little bit, what your experience was like with Legacy Gala, things like that would be cool.
I am at a loss for words about how awesome, special that night was. It was so cool. I saw so many people just so excited to see each other again, being reunited, and my parents, they were sitting with some of their friends that my dad made at Prep. It was really just special, and I was so honored to be there. It was really cool to see all the support that was, given through Prep, and all the relations that everyone had with each other, and how many people came together to make that event happen. I'm definitely going to remember it for the rest of my life, and I hope that one day I can be there too, being a part of that community that was there.
Yeah.
I'd say it was definitely a different event from other Prep events, because from what I experienced was there's many different generations of people there, and again, what Adrienne said, it was really cool seeing old friends meet up with each other and stuff, and also too the amount of support that this school has, and again the alumni who want to support our future the future classes. That was also pretty cool to see. And then there's way more people than I thought there was gonna be there. But it was definitely a cool experience to meet many different people in different businesses and jobs, and them talking to me about what they do for a living, and how they can maybe help me. Also the connections were really.
It's really neat. Yeah. And of course, that's the side of Prep that I live every day, is connecting with alumni and the supporters and talking about those things. And there's so many people who just love to be able to help, the students, you guys, and be able to help get more kids here at Prep to experience what you guys have had the opportunity to experience. And that's why we do things like Legacy Gala. Our office runs probably 4 or 5 major, alumni or donor events a year. And Legacy Gala is always one of my favorites for the reasons you guys were talking about. Just connecting with old friends and being there to support one another and the future students and whatnot. It's always a really good turnout. Yeah. Was it way more people than you expected, or did your dad prep you a little bit on?
My mom gave me a little heads up. My dad did as well. There was so many people that came up to me and shared with me memories they had at Prep. It was really cool to hear all the different stories, and then they would ask me about what I was planning on doing for college, I'm going to Pitt, and then they would continue to be like, oh my gosh, I went there, or they would tell me what they know, and it was really cool because they continued to want to help me in my future and tell me their experiences and places I should check out, or
That's cool.
things they remember. Really, it was
one of the things, Devin, that you were at I don't want to use the word awkward, but after Libby Waltman was done speaking. She was exiting the stage.
Oh, yeah.
And then you went up to talk to introduce Jim Rakowski.
Yeah.
And then the Villa alumni tables started singing the
singing.
alma mater.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
And you like took a moment where you kind of like looked around and then you stepped back and let them sing. I just want to tell you, there was many Villa alums that talked to me afterwards and said, that gentleman, by the way, I felt bad. We started over singing when he was supposed to talk, but he did such a great job of just letting us do our thing. So I want to say kudos to you, on the podcast here, because a lot of people commented on that.
It's great to hear the alma mater again. I never memorized it because I was only a freshman when they would sing it at the honors assemblies, but just hearing it was so special. I was so happy that they did that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's very, with what our event is, with Legacy Gala, we're honoring a prep alum, the Villa alum. It'll be pretty cool if we continue that out every year then to do that. But you did a great job handling yourself. Yeah. So, and again, you guys are at this point of your life, closing a chapter, moving on to the next one. You've talked about, guidance counselors or teachers or coaches we've referenced, in a general sense. But are there any teachers or coaches who have been more impactful for you during your time here, and maybe why were those people significant for you while you were here?
Oh, there are so many special teachers and figures that have helped me so much here at Prep, but I definitely want to mention Mrs. Peterson and Mrs. Martin. They helped me so much with preparing me for college. Mrs. Martin went to Pitt as well, and she also was a psychology major. And so she did so much with helping me prepare and write like my essay, and she wrote me my letter of recommendation, which meant so much. And I took psychology with her last year, which is how I discovered that this was something I wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
And she did such a good job preparing me for this and just helping me get there. And
That's
Mrs.
cool.
Peterson also did so much. She made sure I knew to write the essay, and she went over it with me and just gave me all the little tips about how Pitt was a little bit different than other schools applying to, but they just helped me so much. And of course there's Mr. Vickery and Mrs. Duda, who have been such big help with me in my art career here. They've helped me with so many opportunities, both with speaking at the beginning of the year and the mural and the dance room. And, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do any of those things without any of their help. So they're
That's
awesome.
cool.
So
That's
many
great.
good teachers here.
Yeah, it's hard to name them, but appreciate you trying.
There's definitely a lot of teachers that have helped me a lot, tremendously. I'm grateful for every teacher that I had throughout my 4 years here. For track, I'm a track and field athlete, and I'm grateful for my two coaches, Mike Brown and Therese Brown. They've definitely pushed me and busted my butt during practice, and they're the main reasons that I'm running in college. And then I'm also grateful for Mr. Parsons, because he's a really, really good dude. He makes class really engaging. I had him 3 out of the 4 years here.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, they were all different classes. And each class that I had him, it was always engaging. He's a great person, great personality, and I'm super grateful for him too. He also wrote my letter of recommendation as well, and it was beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mr. Parsons is one of those teachers who just exemplify what it means to be, a man of prep. Which is a great guy. I graduated with his brother Tyler. So I've known Tony for a long time. But great teacher here. And to your point with Coach Browns, they're both phenomenal coaches as well. So that's great. Man, it's hard to believe you guys are at the end of the road here.
I know.
Yeah.
Insane.
The other question I wanted to ask you guys, too, was about Mary's Day. You had the experience of Mary's Day, Adrienne. I'm looking at you at Villa. And then you got to have it here at Prep, which I heard that first year it was not, I wouldn't say better, but at the Cathedral, it just created a totally different atmosphere, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll ask Devin next, but for you, Adrienne, how do you feel about how Mary's Day was this year for your senior year, the significance of what that event has turned into now for our community, just how much you enjoy that?
I was very excited to hear that this tradition would be carried on from Villa. And all past 3 years I've been just waiting to actually be this, seniors that are such a big part of Mary's Day. It's such a special event, definitely an emotional day. 'Cause,
I could bet.
the community is just so tight, and it's hard leaving, but everyone is super excited for it. It was still wonderful and special, and like I said, very emotional. But it's just because everyone loves each other so much here.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then Devin, I mean, you went from not knowing anything about this day, what it meant or anything, to then when it was brought here for your sophomore year. Again, it was that was my first experience with Mary's Day too. I had never been to one, and I just thought it was such a special day.
Yeah.
What really stuck with me was how much student-led the day is. I mean, it's really not like the teachers up there talking and leading everything. I mean, you were part of the Mary's Court or the May Court, and was able to be a part of that too. So same kind of question, but how'd you enjoy your Mary's Day this year and that whole experience of being a part of it?
Yeah, so first I'm sincerely blessed to be a part of the May Court. It was definitely an experience that I would never forget. And then also too, like going back to freshman year, like I didn't even know what Mary's Day was. The guys didn't even have the guys had a regular day freshman year, freshman year. So like my sophomore and junior and senior year, it was definitely like a unique day for me. And then to be honest, it was one of my best days, and I looked forward to it like my last 3 years.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And the guys, they participate in the note writing. Is that true? Okay. Yeah. I always wondered. I'm like, that'll be interesting to see if that transitions to the guys here at Prep too. But it seems like all the students really just bought into what the day is.
Yeah. Also, like receiving like the notes from everybody, like wishing you like a great summer, and like I'm glad that we met cards. Like those are also like super sweet.
Yeah.
And also, again, like what Adrienne said, like it was a very emotional day for me. I cried that day. So,
That's cool.
The cards are so special. They're kind of the closest thing we have to yearbook signings because we don't get our yearbooks until the year after.
That's a good point.
So it's really special opening up all those cards, around your friends. I think I cried while reading a few of them. But I have kept every single card I have received since freshman year, and they all mean so much. I go back and read them. I still haven't put away the ones I received this year. I like looking at them. They bring me so much joy and so much love. So they're wonderful.
I got a little shoebox with all my cards from the last 2 years.
That's cool. Yeah, and those are things you guys will probably hold on to forever. I mean, there's so many Villa alums. You ask about their time, they talk about Mary's Day, and inevitably they'll say, I still have all my cards from our Mary's Day, and that was 30 years ago, whenever it was. So yeah, those are special moments, and I'm glad that is a tradition that we have here at Prep now. Got one more question for you guys. As we wind down our time on the podcast with the two of you. It's been fun reflecting with you guys, and I'm excited for what the next chapter of your lives are going to bring. Excited to catch up with you. Probably in 5 years is when your first reunion will take place, so make sure you put that on your calendars so we can catch up. But as we end the podcast, the question I have is, what message would each of you like to share with the Prep and Ville alumni community about your experience here at this new Prep? Because certainly there's a lot of people who are very supportive and excited, and there's some people who are still waiting to see how this goes because it's still new, right? It's only been a few years. But what message would each of you like to share with the community based on your experience here?
The traditions are not lost. I know that there was a lot of nervousness around maybe some of the Villa traditions getting swept away and us losing them, but I mean, the thing is, when you combine and you make something new, you have to adapt to that. So they definitely weren't lost, and we've come together and made something new, and it's so special, and it's really just great to see how things have changed. But definitely, we still have our traditions, and we've even made new ones. So
it's cool.
It's wonderful.
For me, it was definitely a great experience these last 4 years. Not as you can see, but basically the last 3 years, people thought they were going to be pretty chaotic and not go so well, but turns out it was amazing. And then I'm super grateful I got to come here as a student for all 4 years and see what all boys and all girls was like, and then also the consolidation as well. So it was definitely an amazing experience, and I don't think I'll ever forget these 4 years.
That's awesome. You guys had a great experience. Great education. Great athletic programs. Great clubs, obviously, Adrienne, right?
I have to take advantage of it.
That's right. I know. That's awesome. And great teachers and coaches and everyone here to support you guys. So, no, I'm really thrilled for you guys. Really, proud to see you guys, graduating from here and going on to the next chapter of your lives. I know you both do very well. And I'm excited to see you guys, in 5 years, 10 years and beyond, and the great things you'll do out there. So that's how we'll wind up, but we appreciate you guys coming on the podcast and joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
You.